Yes. I just have myself muted. Match week 8 brings us to the Windy City of Chicago for a March rematch between Chicago Fire 2 and Orlando City B. Welcome inside SeatGeek Stadium alongside our broadcast team. I'm Jake Griffith. Glad to have you with us for this beautiful Sunday fixture in the Chicagoland area. Chicago Fire 2, well, they're trying to get their season back on track. Goals have been at a premium. No goals scored in the last 299 minutes for the home side. The visitors, they've had no shortage of goals, a top 5 offense, but coming off a match against Carolina Core where they blew a 2-goal lead. 9 goals allowed by Orlando City B in their last 270 minutes. We start with a look at how these sides line up. First for Mike Makovich and Chicago Fire 2, going with a 4-2-3-1. 4 personnel changes across this first 11 on the pitch for Chicago, including the return of Jack Sandmeyer to the lineup. He will start on that back line, and that is key for a Chicago team who comes in after giving up 3 goals against Atlanta United 2 in their previous fixture. This coaching staff very high on Jack Sandmeyer, the 18th overall pick for Chicago in the most recent Super Draft. They feel like despite him being a newcomer to this team, he's a veteran presence, brings a lot of stability to this back line. He will also wear the captain's armband today for Chicago Fire 2. As for Orlando City B and new manager Edward Wilding, they go with a 4-2-3-1. 4 personnel changes as well across this first 11 for OCB. Ignacio Gomez makes his first MLS Next Pro start of 2026, and he is fresh off a huge debut at the MLS level. Ignacio Gomez getting a short-term call-up, thought of as a talented box-to-box midfielder. He will work in that double pivot with Yutaro Sukada, who returns to Orlando City B for his 3rd start in MLS Next Pro play this season. The aforementioned Ignacio Gomez making the most of his time up with the MLS side of this Orlando City organization. The January 2026 acquisition trying to help get Orlando City B back on track. They have not won in 4 matches. Last time they won a come-from-behind effort against Carolina Core 3-2 on the road. Second meeting of the season in what was an exciting contest the last time these teams locked up in March of 2026. A 2-1 win for Orlando City B. Alex Beeler is our center referee. He sounds the whistle And the ball is moving inside SeatGeek Stadium, and we are officially underway. 10th all-time meeting between these Eastern Conference foes, Chicago Fire and Orlando City. Fire are unbeaten in 4 straight at home against OCB, who are seeking their first win on the road against Chicago since July of 2022. Orlando City trying to go forward with it. They wear the gold and purple. It's Chicago in the all-red, and Orlando City B will have the throw-in. Sandy trying to go forward with it, and Chicago holding firm initially in that defensive shape. Ultimately, it will roll out across the touchline, and it will be a throw-in for Jalen Yearwood. Yearwood, team leader in tackles per 90 minutes this season for Orlando City B. Under new direction, Manuel Goldberg, after Oscar Pereira was let go at the MLS level. Manuel Goldberg, starting out the season as the OCB coach, he moved on to interim first-team assistant. Orlando City B, an interim manager as well prior to the hiring of Edward Wilding, as it will be another throw-in for Orlando City B. Wilding, the former Orlando City U18 head coach from 2024 to 2025 at that MLS Next level. Also spent 2 seasons on the touchlines with the Orlando City U16s, as we get a whistle from Alex Beeler, and Chicago Fire will have a free kick to restart play. Those aforementioned Orlando City U16s, they are in action at the MLS Next Flex competition. U16s right now leading Group E with 5 points entering Sunday. The Orlando City Academy system having a great start to MLS Next Flex. The U17s also leading their group, Group C, with 3 points. This Orlando City B side coming off a 2-2 draw against Carolina Core in their last time out. More on that in a moment. Turnover, counter quickly developing for Chicago, who have had a penchant this season, despite the lack of goals scored, to be dangerous on their counterattacking moments. 4 goals on the season for Mike Matkovic's bunch, but 2 of those have come off transitional moments. Looking for the switch, Chicago was over to this near side, and Damian Neek. Instead, it's Orlando City B coming up in possession. OCB trying to straddle that stripe out wide, and instead we do get a whistle from Alex Beeler. Orlando City B, though, as mentioned, coming off that 2-2 draw against Carolina Core. They went up 2-0 at the half, scored in the 7th minute off a penalty, doubled in the 32nd. Now Chicago trying to fight off challenges, and we get another whistle here from Alex Beeler. It'll be a free kick for Chicago Fire early into this contest, less than 4 minutes in. This is an Orlando City B set-piece defense that has had a tendency this season to give up a number of set-piece goals. 4 set-piece goals conceded in total in this early 2026 campaign. Bit of a sharp angle here for Chicago Fire. Near that end line, they try to curl this one in. First contact made by Orlando, and they knot it out. It will be a Chicago corner. Fire 2 this season. They've done well to stack up the set pieces. 5th most corners generated in MLS Next Pro entering this Sunday clash, but have yet to score off a corner this season. Deflecting around in front, and that one finally hacked clear. Now we get more whistles. Trainers immediately ushered onto the pitch as Alex Beeler will bring this contest to a halt. This stoppage coming right off Chicago's first corner of this contest, just 5 minutes in. There was a mid-air collision on that corner. And as you see right there on the right side of your screen, trainers out to assess the status of the injured player. I'll look at it once more. Keep an eye right there on that left side of the screen. You see a mess of bodies laying on the ground. Just two heads colliding over near that far post. The stoppage continuing here as trainers continuing to assess the status of the two injured players. Very early into this contest now, an extended stoppage between Chicago Fire and Orlando City B. Teams were trying to early on get into their rhythm, their routine, the flow of this contest, and now that flow disrupted a bit. Titus Sandy Jr., Jack Sandmeyer, who we highlighted for Chicago in our broadcast open. They were both down for an extended stretch. You see Sandy Jr. there flanked by trainers for Orlando City B. Good news for both men is that they are able to walk off under their own power. Sandmeyer went charging off the pitch. Sandy Jr. walking off just a bit more gingerly. An early, lengthy stoppage due to the injuries after the mid-air collision between Jack Sandmeyer and Titus Sandy Jr. Sandmeyer, the former North Carolina defender, has been a season at UNC and in Chapel Hill. All ACC third-team selection a season ago before being drafted by Chicago Fire. Titus Sandy, meanwhile, he's been such a productive player since joining Orlando City B. Was the 46th overall pick last Super Draft. Play is back underway off the stoppage. Sandmeyer will come off, an early substitution for Chicago as Emir Herrera will come on in his stead. A turnover here. Orlando able to thump that one clear finally. Now we get a whistle from Alex Beeler. Another free kick awarded to Orlando City, and play quickly back underway. OCB trying to move quickly with it. As mentioned, Jack Sandmeyer, an early change made by Mike Matkovich and company, has to come off due to injury. Replacing him, Emir Herrera. Right now it is Orlando City B, and Dylan Judelson with it for a moment. Judelson had given it up, and now a late whistle from Alex Beeler. Chicago were trying to transition into that attack and play back underway once more. Sukata now. Carrying it wide is Yutaro Sukata, former West Virginia Mountaineer. Sukata looking to peel it back, and does. At the end line, his cross in. Orlando City B also making a change as the day is done for Titus Sandy Jr. Yearwood gave it up, looking to swing it ahead to Sukata, and instead repossessed by Chicago. Neek will go down, and that will draw another whistle from Alex Beeler. The Chicago Fire coaching staff had a chance to catch up with them earlier in the week, and Damian Neek was a player who was discussed. He came up, and they've really just been so impressed with the way Neek has found ways to ingratiate himself and adapt into this team. The native of Switzerland came over last August, was acquired from the famed Grasshopper Club. Had some injuries that he had to work through, but has since come in and now appeared and started in all 6 of Chicago's contests this year, including this fixture. Going to lift this one in behind. We get a collision over on that left side, and a whistle will sound. This gives Chicago an opportunity for a free kick, attacking half here early into this contest. Fire too, they haven't spent much time in this attacking half. It is early into this first 45 minutes. So far, though, Orlando City B, they've been able to hang on to possession. That is something that they have aimed to do these last few weeks, be a more dominant team when on the ball. Chicago, though, despite the lack of possession so far, they do have the one shot, the only shot. Fire will drive this in toward goal. There is Himes getting the start in net today for Orlando City. 5th appearance in goal for OCB for Tristan Himes, the former Coastal Carolina netminder, making his first grab of the day. Turned upfield by the Lions, and now here comes Orlando City once more. Sukata on the left. Can't stay on the proper side of that restraining line, and the offside flag will come up, ending the opportunity for Orlando City. One thing that Edward Wilding had reiterated this week when I had a chance to catch up with OCB's relatively new manager, he did say that that match against Carolina Core felt like they were very dominant in that first half. The chance creation they were very pleased with. They walked away from that opening half feeling like they could have likely gone ahead by 3 goals. They end up taking 2 out of a possible 3 points from the Foxes thanks to that 6-5 penalty shootout win. Second half, a bit of a different story for Orlando City B. Conceded the 2 unanswered. 72nd, 75th minute. But even despite that, Wilding was adamant that even when giving up the goals, he still felt like his team felt comfortable, even with that pressure building from Carolina Core. More than anything, they were able to get positive contributions from a lot of their young players. Players like Brady Kendall, who came on and made his professional debut against Carolina Core. That one will go sailing out of play, and a change of possession will occur via the throw-in. Fire 2 pinned a bit back deep here, and now it's taken away. Sukata will come up with it. Trying to work his way past that final defender, and instead wins a whistle, and it will be a free kick for Orlando City B. This portion of the match brought to you by Carvana. OCB, they've been knocking early in this first half. They have been good off their set pieces this year. One free kick goal. Sukata looking to curl it in right at Owen Pratt. A 17-year-old making the grab. This is his 7th appearance of the season. The Chicago Fire organization so adept at developing high-level goalkeeper talent. They bring Pratt in the offseason, spent part of last season with Ventura County. Or they bring him in last season, I should say. Spent part of last year with Ventura County. A couple of starts, 180 minutes in total in net. He's come in, used an offseason under his belt to really assert himself as the #1 option in goal for this Chicago Fire 2 side. 19 saves, 2 clean sheets already in 2026. Another whistle brings us to a stoppage. It's been a very tight whistle from our center referee here in these opening almost 20 minutes. Himes to put it back into play and resume off the stoppage. Himes' second start of the season against Chicago Fire 2. Allowed 1 goal, courtesy of Jack Sandmeyer, who has already exited this contest early on. Made 3 saves in that March 2-1 victory. On the move now is OCB. Chicago will tuck it inside. Here is Nagel, who will move it forward. That midfield battle today, 2 teams coming out in respective 4-2-3-1 formations. It'll be crucial. Orlando City, the game plan very clear for OCB. Is under some duress there was Tristan Himes, ultimately coming away unscathed, and it will be a goal kick. Edward Wilding saying that their goal today is to come out same game plan they employed their last few matches, be it against Chattanooga, be it against Carolina Core. They want to dominate the game from the opening whistle. Springing free now is OCB. Options going forward. They'll flick it on out wide. It's Sukata. Sukata one-on-one with Neek. Sukata shuffles to the end line, plays it in front, just wide of the near post and out. Yutaro Tsukada brings so much speed on those flanks for Orlando City B. Off to the races after pulling that ball in on the move, and this just a dangerous ball. Played right in front. Ignacio Gomez able to get part of a foot to it, but just wide, and we stay scoreless over 20 minutes in. Lions looking to stretch things out. They wanted Gomez on that long ball forward, now nodded back down by Orlando City B. It's Gomez trying to play Tsukada into space, looking to link up inside. And that pass just offline. And now another whistle from Alex Beeler. It's been a very disjointed opening half so far due to the amount of whistles we've seen. Neither team able to truly get into that rhythm they were hoping to establish early on in the contest. However, it is Orlando City B. Some of the more dangerous opportunities we've seen so far, including one recently that just went narrowly wide of the target. For Chicago Fire 2, coming in off the heels of that 3-0 loss against Atlanta United 2. Conceded that opener in the 4th minute, ultimately allowed another in the 35th in that first half before the 17s put the finishing touch on it in the 84th. But Chicago, it's been a theme for them these last 3 matches. You talk to this coaching staff, and they have liked their chance creation. They feel like they're doing well in that regard. It's just that ruthlessness in front of goal. They had 10 shots inside the penalty area against Atlanta United. It's turned over by Orlando City on 22 touches, but just 3 shots on target for the match. Those are numbers that have to improve if you're Chicago. This is a Chicago team that last season scored the 2nd most goals in MLS Next Pro history in a single campaign. This one curling to that back post and rolling out. Nearly breaking the deadlock is Chicago, not to be had. This is a great curling effort just to top the box here. Damian Villanueva getting onto that left foot and curling it a little bit wide, ultimately out of play. One of the best opportunities Chicago have had so far, as Gomez will move it forward now from that midfield spot. Orlando City B trying to track that one down on the right. Instead knocked out of play and away from Parker Amu-Mensah. It will be a throw-in for Chicago. Rather for Orlando City. This portion of the match brought to you by Wintrust. Yearwood with it now. He'll give it up over to Tsukada. Tsukada, stop then start. Knocked out of play again, and it will be another throw for Orlando City. It's Orlando City B side. One thing that Chicago Fire 2's coaching staff, they emphasized with their team, they felt like last time these teams met in March, that Chicago did not do a good enough job of managing and defending against Orlando's constant rotations. And this is an Orlando City B squad that they do get those switches going. They rotate players around. Here is Gomez moving up from that midfield space, part of that double pivot today with Judelson. Tucked back inside. Here's Gomez looking to switch it out wide. Left it a bit short. OCB able to come up with the takeaway and maintain that possession. Back again, it's Sukata. Sukata, he'll stand up this cross. Out comes Pratt, who will make the grab. Building again, it's Gomez trying to play it through over to Sukata, deflected, funneled back to Sukata, going for it. And ultimately it's Pratt again, a flurry of saves for the Californian. Chicago so far, they haven't had much going on those outsides. Fire 2 really wanting to work those flanks, streak in down those far touch lines, and ultimately try to whip those crosses into dangerous areas. But Orlando, when Chicago is getting expansive, so to speak, in their build-out, they're doing a good job of maintaining their shape, and it's caused some problems for Chicago when trying to progress into the attacking half. Sukata dispossessed momentarily and thumped back down by Orlando City B. That is where Damian Neek will clean things up and steer it over to Pratt. Under some pressure, and Pratt, an errant clearance out. Change of possession occurring via this throw in. It'll be Yearwood now with the throw, making his 5th start, 7th appearance of the campaign for Orlando City, who will reset. The patience is something that Orlando City has been so good at displaying in these early junctures of the season. Not afraid to recycle that ball around if they don't have an option they like. That time, though, taken away by Chicago, and Fire 2 on the move. There's a player down for the Lions, center of your screen. It is Albright Chicamso, who had to come on early in the place of Titus Sandy Jr., who exited just about 7 minutes into this contest due to injury. Chicago trying to progress now into this final third. Haven't had many opportunities so far. Villanueva on the left has the overlap. It's Neek charging forward on the late arriving run. Turned away from goal by Yearwood, though. Pineda had it, gave it up, and now they'll give it back to Pineda. On the turn, it's Height. Height will lift this into the penalty area, takes a deflection, still free in front. Now trying to turn on it is Bolts, put toward goal, and deflected out of play. It will stay here. Chicago winning themselves a corner. This is great effort here from Darius Height. Able to reset things, carve an opening, and float that one to the back post. Bolts on the turn. Able to set Chicago up with another corner Second corner of the afternoon for Chicago Fire. Swung in, knotted down, second effort, hammered over the bar and out. A half hour gone now in this contest, and Chicago starting to find themselves a bit offensively, growing more into this game. Himes will roll it forward and put it back in play. Right now it's Chicago, one shot on target of their two total. Issues here, though, playing out of the back for Orlando. Fire starting to inch more numbers forward on this press, and it comes to their advantage now. One back. It's Bolts trying to find his way inside. We get a whistle, an official pointing to the spot. Tristan Himes can't believe it. Orlando under immense duress, ultimately coughing it up near their own 18. And it's Dean Bolts in his 6th appearance in Next Pro play this year for Chicago Fire, able to set Chicago up with a penalty and an opportunity to go ahead in this first half. Fire, too, have not attempted a penalty yet this season. Now it's Bolts facing off against Orlando City's captain, Himes, in goal. Bolts' 4-goal contributions a season ago for Chicago Fire before being loaned to forward Madison of USL League One in August of 2025, and now Tristan Himes shown yellow by Alex Beeler. Bolts to give Chicago the lead, and does. Opening his account in 2026. Is Dean Bolts, and opening the scoring for Chicago. 1-0 Fire. That's just no nonsense from the spot for Dean Bolts. The former Wisconsin Badger, cool as you like, stepping up, rifling that one in. Nothing Tristan Himes could do about it. And despite Orlando asking the majority of the questions to this point, it's Chicago Fire starting on the front foot. The Chicago Fire coaching staff this week, they had said that they felt like the last time they saw Orlando City, it was OCB who were the better team in the first half. Chicago started to put it together as the half carried on, liked what they did in the second half despite conceding that late go-ahead goal to Orlando City. Took Chicago a few minutes to get on track offensively, but now they have their first goal since the 61st minute in that win against Chattanooga FC. Now Chicago, they have their eyes on more. Orlando City coughing it up again. They've had some issues playing out of their own end. Turdine lifting it in behind, that out of the reach of Villanueva, and that will be a goal kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hyundai. This high press for Chicago, it's causing all kinds of nightmares right now for Orlando. They've been pinned back in this end for a handful of minutes consecutively. Opening 10 minutes, OCB, their offense had been a bit more free-flowing. They were progressing nicely up and down That has changed a bit these last 5 or so minutes, and it's coincided with Chicago starting to inch more numbers forward in their pressing shape. That delightful, though, for Orlando City B, able to break that pressure down. Now OCB charging forward with it. Jettleson gives it up to Chicamso. Here is Ignacio Gomez. To the near touchline and inside. Able to find Yearwood. Now moving it around the area, looking for the interchange. It's Gomez going for it and sending that into the seats. Ignacio Gomez, he's had such a massive stretch of his career these last few weeks. Made his MLS debut against Houston Dynamo back on the 18th of this month. Followed that up with a goal in midweek action against Charlotte FC in that 4-1 win for Orlando City. Lions able to earn themselves another throw in here on this near side. The young players like an Ignacio Gomez, they have really shifted to the forefront for Orlando City at the MLS level. And what has been a difficult start to the season for the Lions, but Martin Perelman, their interim manager, he had said a few weeks back, as this pass back given up, Pratt comes out, able to knock it away. The net is free. It won't make its way through, and Chicago will clear it away on an emergency basis. That pressure not alleviated yet. OCB still pushing for that goal, and now we get a whistle here. Both teams having some issues in terms of playing out of the back in this opening half. That just a careless giveaway in the defensive half for Chicago. Fortunate to not have given up a goal there. Ultimately, Orlando City sticking with it and setting themselves up with this free kick in quite the promising position late in this half. Sukata stands ready for it as Yearwood will shuffle around. This one angled toward goal, but that will go wide and out. Going back to Orlando City at that MLS level, their interim manager, he had said a few weeks ago when asked by the local media if some of these young players, he felt like they were ready for these moments, and he said that if they wear the shirt, then they're ready. That is very much so the mentality around this Orlando City organization. OCB comes up with the takeaway again. Counter developing. Jettleson via Gomez. Now Jettleson, early ball in, trying to lead the way, and instead finding the end line. It was Chicago Fire 2 finding the opening goal from the penalty spot, courtesy of Dean Bolts, his first of the season. That is the only goal we've seen to this juncture. Despite that, Orlando City B 4 shots on target. Owen Pratt 4 saves in this opening half. The layoff inside. Here's Height trying to cut around. Height still on it. Height shuffling at that end line looking for the cross, and instead it's a corner for Chicago. Fire 2, they haven't scored off a corner in 4 matches coming into this. Last time they did it against Orlando, they swing it in off the near post. Advantage doubled. Chicago Fire at the double. Near side, catching the head of Dean Bolts, charging in over on that near stick. And Chicago Fire in Dreamland at home, 2-0. Orlando City B, despite starting off so strong in this first half, left searching for answers now. Goals 7 minutes apart for Chicago Fire, and now Chicago looking to add more to their tally before the halftime whistle. Still moving around, the clearance deflected out. It's another corner. Fourth corner of the opening half for Chicago, who just minutes ago were able to double their tally off a set piece. Second corner goal of the year, first since the last time they saw Orlando City beat. The Sandmeyer equalizer. This one swung in, punched away by Himes. And now Orlando City trying to break out of this end. They've been pinned back for so long, pushing the tempo now. It's Caraballo on the left. Caraballo wanted to give it up inside to Leal, who has started his MLS Next Pro career off strong. 3 goals in his last 4 Next Pro appearances. Here's Gomez, wanting to roll this in behind and does. Sukata, though, they're doubling him up on that left flank. And Chicago, just a mistake, running out of room. Chris Cups was trying to turn it forward and instead let it roll across the end line. And this, perhaps a lifeline here for Orlando City. They themselves have scored twice off corners this season. Swung in near post. First contact made by Chicago. There's Turdine, the 16-year-old, able to pull it out and set it back up to Cups. Now Pratt going ahead with it. And Chicago advancing this ball forward. Back to Turdine centrally. He's a player that this coaching staff said this week just continues to wow them each and every time he is in this team. Fire 2 do earn themselves the free kick here in the final moments of this opening 45. Drilled ahead, glancing header, goes over the bar and out. Officially 6 minutes of added time at the end of this first 45. Majority of that stemming from the lengthy stoppage just a handful of minutes into the contest. That sent both Jack Sandmeyer and Titus Sandy Jr. off. The aforementioned Robert Turdine, he has not just starred for club, but also for country. was 16 years old. Youngest player to appear in a competitive match in Chicago Fire 2 club history, but 4 career goals across 15 career youth international caps with the U.S. U15s and U16s. And he figures to be a big factor in the plans for Chicago Fire going forward out of this Chicago Fire Academy that's been so stout in their club's history. Dumped forward by Chicago and clear. That is where Orlando City will give chase. Gomez now speeding forward, looking to open things up for OCB. They want the switch out wide. They find it over near side to Sukata. Sukata having real issues getting past Damian Neek so far in this first half. Those issues continuing. Has to cut it back to the top of the area. His cross blocked away. And now Sukata goes careening in to Dean Bolts. Orlando City, they do have the advantage in shots. They've spent majority of the time in this contest in the attacking half. 44 passes completed to just 28 for Chicago in the opposition half. But they have not been getting themselves into those dangerous areas. Only 3 touches in Chicago's penalty area. Chicago, meanwhile, they are dominating in that regard, continuing to find dynamic entries into the final third. Get numbers in front of Tristan Himes. 6 of Chicago's shots, all 6 of them, have come inside Orlando City's 18-yard box. Box defending, something that Orlando will try to shore up going into the second half. Villanueva able to take that ball away and turns it upfield. Here's the aforementioned Turdine. Speeding ahead. Oh, what a ball played in behind. Left off, it's Bolts. Goes high and misses. Dean Bolts has been a force to be reckoned with in this opening 45 minutes. Almost had his eyes on another goal, which would have put Chicago up 3. Now Chicago turning this one into a transitional attack. Here's Cups, the Chicago Fire homegrown. He gave it up. Now pushing forward is Herrera. Nagel tried the layoff back to Herrera and instead turned it over, and there is a whistle. And now more whistles from our center referee. This match week 8, it got going with a thrilling contest on Friday night in the Eastern Conference. Toronto FC, they go up 2 goals, give up a late one to New York City Football Club to make things interesting deep into that contest, ultimately holding on for the 2-1 victory. Now we get another whistle as Orlando City were trying to work around that right flank. Another exciting contest yesterday between the Eastern Conference leaders, Crown Legacy, and their interstate foes, Carolina Core, playing to a 2-2 draw, and then that gave way to A busy Sunday slate here around MLS Next Pro. One other contest in action, rather, around the Eastern Conference. It's Philadelphia Union trying to salt away the last few minutes of a victory against Connecticut United. A bit of revenge for Philadelphia Union, who were felled 3-1 at home by CT United earlier this season. Meanwhile, in this one, Chicago looking to exact a measure of revenge after losing late against Orlando the last time they met down at Osceola Heritage Park. Turned over. Here's Chicago countering very quickly. And even quicker, Orlando there defensively to just knock it away. There is the whistle from Alex Beeler, and the half has been reached inside SeatGeek Stadium. Chicago Fire leads it at the half, 2-0. Coming up in our halftime show, one of the best young stars in MLS traces his soccer roots. That after this brief timeout.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Back inside SeatGeek Stadium, 2-0 at the half in favor of Chicago Fire 2. Wednesday night, Julian Hall scored the first goal in a wild match for Red Bull New York after helping Red Bulls 2 win the MLS Next Pro Cup Championship last season. Let's track the remarkable journey of this rising star.
Julian Hall! Remember the name! It's that man again, Julian Hall! Cross goal, it goes in!
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall!
Swinging ball towards the back post, it goes! Open goal for Red Bull New York! Julian Zakshevsky Hall!
Born in Manhattan, New York, Julian Hall found the game the same way a lot of kids in this city do.
I first kind of started playing soccer when I was around 4 years old. I would play a lot wherever I could, if it was a field near my apartment or wherever I could, basically. And I just remember, falling in love with the game and wanting to play as much as I can. There's a main place I would play. It's pretty popular in Manhattan. It's called Pier 40, and a lot of people go there. That's where I played with Manhattan Kickers. It's kind of where I really started to realize I really wanted to play soccer seriously and maybe make it professionally.
That love for the game turned into an opportunity, a move into one of the top academies in the country.
Julian came into our system at U14. I think he played about 3 or 4 games with the U14s. I was a U15 coach at the time, so I was observing those games, and you could see straight away he was a special talent. So he quickly got moved up an age group to play with the U15s that season. Made an instant impact with the older age groups.
The level changed quickly, and so did the expectations.
I was very excited to come in and, show my ability, and, I was playing with my age and I was playing a year up, and the intensity was a different level, I would say, from what I've ever played at that point in my life. So, yeah, no, it's an amazing experience.
Chimueno scored off the bench against Seattle, and Julian Hall with the breakthrough! The Golden Boot leader rises to the occasion, and we've got an electric finish here in the U15 final.
He's one of those players that can get you up off your feet. Like, he's direct, he can take players on, he can score goals from inside the box, outside the box in really different ways. And, it would always amaze you how he would find goals in the game.
The next step brought a new set of challenges.
That was the biggest jump for me, going from academy to professional football. The intensity, the physicality, the football, it was all quicker than anything I had experienced before. And, I just thought I did a good job of staying level-headed and not being discouraged about little things.
Working to the midfield, now Gonzalez entering the box, across and a goal! Julian Hall puts the Red Bulls 2 on the board.
I was lucky to be coached by Ibrahim Sakaya, and Bradley Wright Phillips was there a lot of the time as well. They did a good job of helping me progress and helping me not get discouraged and keep going every single day and working hard. The coaching staff really mended me very well.
Like, he's always striving to try and get better at something within games and training. And then, why he adapts well, he's a natural goal scorer.
For Julian, it was about staying level and keeping the work the same.
When you go to a professional environment, if you're doing the most amount of work and you're clearly working harder than everyone else, it stands out to a lot of people, and that can be something that separates you from everyone else. If you're a hard worker, that could get you to a lot of places, and I think that's just something that established me when I first came into the first team.
That work and mentality has paid off with the fast start of the season.
We're really happy with the way that he's moving himself forward. He has taken the ideas and has really shown that he is picking things up. Obviously, there's the attacking part, his ability to find chances, his ability to take balls on the move, to dribble, to go by guys, run in the box. The part that goes with it is how much work he does for us against the wall, how much pressing, how much sprinting, how much chasing, how much work he does to really make the game difficult on the other team. And so we're really, really happy with the progress that he's made. We're going to continue to push him.
As he continues to grow, so does the chemistry with his teammates around him.
I've known Julian for a very long time now. I see the way he works in training. I'm getting to know him more and more, obviously, as we play together on and off the field. And then when I step onto the field, I know where he's going to be on the field, what his positioning is like, where he wants the ball, left foot, right foot. And we're kind of growing that connection, which has been going in a really good way, and hopefully, to grow that connection even more.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! 2-0!
I think it's just the trust with the coaching staff. Coach Michael, he's done a great job with us during preseason and putting trust in me to start the first couple games. It's a lot of credit to him for putting his belief in me. Obviously, I have to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, and thankfully I've got a couple goals so far. The goal is to keep progressing throughout the season.
Talent and work ethic have helped Julian's dreams come true faster than even he could have predicted.
I've always dreamt of becoming a professional soccer player, but I never really expected it to happen so fast, to be honest. Earlier that year, I was still just playing academy, and I was progressing well, but I never thought it would lead to signing a contract later that year. So it's kind of a lesson there just to be ready for anything, and anything can happen very, very quickly. You really just have to put your all into whatever you're doing, and things can happen. I think a big thing is just self-belief, because when I was playing in MLS Next, I was signing a contract later that season. I had no idea. I did not have a plan on signing that year. That was not in my plan at all. I think things like that can come from just you doing as much as you can, and things will just happen by itself, as long as you're working hard and giving 100% every single day, like good things will happen. And, you know, thankfully things came to me that year, and, you know, you got to be grateful and you got to use it as much as you can to your abilities.
We're back in Chicago. It's the half between Chicago Fire and Orlando City B. 2-0. The home side leads it through 45 minutes of play. This not the only action around MLS Next Pro. Plenty of action to reflect on. We take a look at our scores around MLS Next Pro. It was Carolina Core and Crown Legacy battling to a 2-2 draw yesterday as Match Week 8 rolled on. Things all kicked off on Friday with that Toronto FC win. And then some results, not just currently ongoing, but around the league from the previous week as well. Looking in the Eastern Conference, I mentioned Carolina Core. They and Orlando City B playing to that 2-2 draw. That Orlando City's previous contest, that thrilling 11-round penalty shootout. Upcoming schedule looks like this. The Eastern Conference will shift back into focus. Atlanta United 2 will take on Carolina Core. How about that Sunday, May 3rd matchup, though, between Philadelphia Union and New York Red Bulls 2? With Philadelphia's win today against CT United, that moves them into a tie, three-way tie points-wise, with Red Bull New York and Columbus Crew, each of those with 14 points, 7 off the pace of Crown Legacy. A lot of action to come around MLS Next Pro, but as for our contest, let's bring you up to speed with how we got here with our first half highlights. Plenty of offense if you're Chicago Fire too. A 2-pack of goals for Mike Matkovich's team in half number 1. Things got started after that 30th minute for Chicago Fire. They were able to take advantage of a penalty past the 30th minute. Dean Boltz able to finish. They would tack on another goal 8 minutes later in the 41st minute. Chicago would, to double their advantage heading into the halftime break. And that came despite Orlando City having a bevy of opportunities. First, it was just a giveaway. That press has really been suffocating in the opening half. That drew the penalty in the 33rd. Here's Boltz able to finish and beat Tristan Himes. That opened the scoring. First goal of the season for Boltz in 2026. Then Chicago, they would add on another, but nearly gave away a goal as that first half would carry on. Out comes Pratt, left the net empty. He made the initial save. Chicago there to clean things up near the goal line. And then on a corner in the 41st minute, goes sailing just off the top of the noggin of Dean Boltz, ultimately finding Darius Height, able to finish on the near side, and that would make it 2-0. That is where we stand through 45 minutes of play between Chicago and Orlando City. We'll head back to break. Second half when we return.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh
energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Almost set to go for the second half whistle here inside SeatGeek Stadium. Along with our broadcast team, Jake Griffith, glad to have you with us. 2-0, Chicago leads it through 45 minutes of play. Pair of goals 8 minutes apart in the final 15 of that opening half. And there is the whistle from our center referee, Alex Beeler. We are back underway. Orlando City, despite trailing at the half, they've had plenty of opportunities to get a goal on the board and one past Owen Pratt. Here they come now on this right flank. It's Caraballo knifing back inside. Caraballo didn't have the support he was looking for. Wins it back, though. Orlando making one change at the half. Dominik Bashevsky will come on. 45 minutes in the books for Ignacio Gomez, and that will bring about an end to his day. Good burst of energy for Orlando City coming out here in this second half. OCB, one thing they were not able to work consistently enough in that opening 45. They have Amu Mensah, they have Yearwood along the back today, those fullbacks for Orlando. They haven't been able to get involved in the attack as much as Edward Wilding would like to hope and see them. On the underlapping run, Orlando connects, lifted in toward the top of the area. It's Caraballo now, wanting space. Caraballo gives it up. This cross flashed in, takes a deflection though. It's Amu Mensah who sent it in. Now Amu Mensah ends up knocking that out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Owen Pratt, who made 4 phenomenal saves in the opening 45 minutes. Ball worked out of play. Chicago will have a throw-in. Frommer tried to play that one forward. It was intercepted, and now Orlando back in the attacking half once again. Played forward and through. Over on the left, this one hit from distance. It'll go sailing wide and out of play. One of the biggest issues Orlando had in the opening half, despite the amount of shots, they did not work themselves into those dangerous positions. Just a little under half of their total passes completed in the opening 45 minutes. Completed in the Chicago Fire, half of things, but just 3 touches in the penalty area. Only 2 shots of their 6 going on, rather taken inside the box. Had a couple of shots go off the target as well. Driven through centrally. Too much weight behind that ball. Trying to find Bashevsky streaking forward. Bashevsky coming in at the half in place of Ignacio Gomez, who was really racing box to box, and his role as a part of that double pivot alongside Judelson in that first half, and at least initially appearing like Edward Wilding asking the same of the young Bashevsky. Orlando City Academy man is Dominik Bashevsky, making his 7th appearance of 2026. in an Orlando shirt. Here he is now. Judelson able to give it up over to Yearwood. Now forward Orlando goes once more. Trying to get free on that far touchline and instead tripped up. This will be a whistle. A yellow card will come out of the pocket of Alex Beeler. Second booking we've seen. Tristan Himes shown a yellow just prior to the Dean Bolts penalty in the 33rd minute. Damian Neek going into the book. Drilled ahead. Chicago with first contact. And ultimately knocked out of play. It will stay here, though. Orlando City will have a corner. Drilled in. Pratt around it on the goal line. And Orlando able to pull one back. A well-taken corner from that far flag, in swinging, and Pratt trying to bat away at it, just can't get to it. Chicago back on it now. Here's Height. A goal in the first half. Height coughing that one up, and now playing this one forward. Ultimately worked back over. It's Pratt under some duress. Able to get rid of it. Now we get a stoppage from Alex Beeler. The whistles came often in that opening half. Allowed both teams to create some real dangerous moments off set pieces. Two teams that are deadly at times on their set piece opportunities. goal officially going into the book as an own goal charge to Owen Pratt in the 52nd minute. A lifeline for Orlando, able to trim the deficit. Orlando had needed that. They have come out here in this second half much better, more intentionality behind their actions and toward goal. Turn it over here, Caraballo on it for a moment. Now Turdine will finally come up with it. Chicago trying to break out. They've spent much of the second half so far back on their heels defensively. Building again is Orlando. It's layout, sidestepping one. Playing Caraballo into space. Caraballo has it knocked off his boots. Out of play off the feet of Bashevsky, and it will be a throw for Chicago. This portion of the match brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. A collision, we get a whistle here, and Orlando City will be the beneficiary. A free kick developing for the visitors. Orlando trying to pull back level. Judelson will funnel it back wide. Now here's Yearwood high into the attack. It was something that they were not able to get going with much consistency in that first half, was getting their fullbacks involved. Chicamso, he had to come in early due to the injury to Titus Sandy Jr. Played back ahead now. Here comes Orlando City B. All the momentum. We'll go sailing out of play, and it will. Chicago will mix things up. Two changes. Omar Gonzalez, one of those. Joiner Montiel making his long-awaited return. Chicago Fire 2 coaching staff in the midweek, they were excited about the prospects of having Montiel back with them. Montiel returning from injury, last appeared September 28th of last year against Atlanta United 2. Over the top, Orlando trying to race in behind. They have it here. Able to get a deflection there was Pratt. Empty net, and they can't finish. It will go out, though, for a corner. OCB able to unlock that verticality They had, in the first half, were desperately trying to find ways to soften up this press of Chicago, take the wind out of Chicago's sails defensively, and they are starting to find that ball is moving around. They are finding ways to go over and around Chicago here in this second half, and they earned themselves another corner. It was an own goal last time OCB had a corner. They go back to the well. In swinging, that'll go off the top netting and bring about an end to the opportunity for Orlando. Out that one will go. Chicago will have a throw-in. Hasn't been much in the way of Chicago's attacking presence here in this second half. It's been a lot of one-way traffic as we cross over the hour mark played. I'm going to keep that one in on this near side. Montiel trying to turn the corner, and well-timed on that tackle from Okonski. Just able to knock that one out, disrupt the buildup. He wouldn't have Montiel had he not timed that properly, streaking in behind. Montiel was productive last year. 18 appearances, 4 starts, 5 goal contributions, and just under 600 minutes of football. Lifting this one forward is Chicago. Trying to find an option out wide. Could not. Himes, though, will turn that out of play. And it will be a throw for Emir Herrera. Herrera, the early change in the first half for Mike Matkovic. One of 3 changes Matkovic has made so far today. 2 coming in this second half. Pineda. Now Neek will go forward with it. Height wanting to play it centrally over to Bolts. He's got 1 goal today. Instead, countering is Orlando. Speeding ahead, it's Caraballo. Caraballo, they don't have the numbers. Ultimately coughing that one up. Leao is there to pick the pieces up. Leao 3 goals in his last 4 Next Pro matches, including 1 against Chicago Fire. The last time these teams met each other in March, the Chicago Fire 2 coaching staff, they did say earlier this week when reflecting on that contest that the opening 25 minutes of the second half were so crucial for them. They felt like they were the better team, dominated, controlled. What they felt like did them in was, in the words of the coaching staff, they just lacked a little bit of maturity to see that result through to the other side. Gave up the goal in the 72nd minute that allowed Orlando to take all 3 points in that contest. Despite some of the offensive struggles Chicago have had this season, it is a bit of a better start to the campaign than what they had through 6 matches in 2025. In fact, the most points earned through their opening 6 since 2024. One thing that Mike Matkovic reiterated when I talked to him last year around this time, and one thing that he has reiterated again, is it does take time, especially this season. Chicago has elected to go much younger as a club. It takes time to gel and develop. Here is the star-studded Robert Turdine on the right. Turdine cutting inside. His shot is deflected. Yearwood looking to hack that clear. OCB protesting for a whistle. They won't get it. Bashevsky had gone down. Now here's Gonzalez. Early ball in here for Chicago. Trying to race that one down out wide, and they do. Yearwood going to ground, knocking it out, and it will be a corner for Fire 2. That is Montiel, who had gone down across that boundary line out wide. And Montiel staying down. Ultimately back to his feet now for the ensuing corner for Chicago Fire. If you count the Fire own goal in the 51st minute, Chicago, they've scored twice off corners, although once going in their favor and once in Orlando's favor. Montiel drives this one out wide. That one will go all the way through. Turdine can't get to it, and it will be a throw in for Orlando City B, who have really done well for themselves in the first 20 minutes of this second half to grab all the momentum. I had to feel a little hard done going into that half in terms of their own effort, not being able to finish any of their 4 prior shots, but they've corrected course a bit here in this second half. Wanting more, perhaps. Played through, looking to find Caraballo. Too much weight behind that ball to go rolling out, and ultimately Owen Pratt will have the goal kick. The discussion about going younger was something that Mike Matkovich had reflected on at the start of the season, ahead of their clash with Inter Miami to open 2026. And one thing he had told me then, it's somewhat of a top-down philosophy that's new within the club since Greg Berhalter has come over. They've really made a point since Berhalter was hired as first-team manager and director of soccer with the club to be intentional about going younger with their second team, about utilizing more academy players, about wanting to develop the youth of this club. And it was something that Mike Matkovich welcomed with open arms. He did acknowledge it's a work in progress anytime you are relying so heavily on young talent, but he feels like giving them more meaningful matches will help this coaching staff learn what these academy players are made of. Turdine, one of those players Matkovich and company relying heavily on in 2026. He gave it up. Now Cups will go forward with it. This is Neek. Was trying to carve an opening out wide and could not. Rather height that was. Leal receives off the throw in. Backtracking, though, is Orlando, and Yearwood will roll this safely back over to Tristan Himes. One of the biggest turning points in this second 45 minutes has been the fact that Orlando has been able to reduce that Chicago press down to less ferocity. There were so many times in the opening 45 minutes that Chicago were able to get 2, even 3 in that pressing shape so high and pin Orlando back. Here's Height now. Height trying to peel this one back. A dangerous pass. Orlando trying to jump on it, and we're unable to do so. This portion of the match is brought to you by Carvana. Gonzalez will clean things up for Chicago along that back line. And now it's Orlando's turn. A 2-3-2-3 pressing shape for OCB right now. Trying to force some issues for Chicago Fire. Good hold-up play here for Chicago. Opening things up on the flanks as Turdine will play it forward. Here's Nagel now. Nagel, the layoff underneath. Well out of Turdine's reach. Chicago trying to hold serve here at home, where over the last 4 matches coming into this, they have done so against Orlando City in the series. 2 wins, 2 draws against OCB in their last 4. Played at home. It has been a series that's largely been dominated by Orlando City. 5 all-time wins for the Lions against their opposition from the Windy City. Here's Gonzalez. Aforementioned Omar Gonzalez, traditionally this season been on the touchlines for Chicago Fire, brought in as an assistant coach in the offseason, getting some run today due to player availability. A short bench this afternoon for Chicago Fire. Mike Motkovich, he talked about bringing Gonzalez in at the start of the season, and he said it's just been so awesome to have him around. Feels like the defenders have benefited the most from his tutelage in training. He's a really vocal guy. Now here's Turdine on the turn. Turdine stepping inside. Turdine going to ground. Couldn't hold on to it. And now Orlando City trying to move it out of the danger zone. That will draw a whistle as Darius Height goes in. Stoppage continuing. The Orlando man was slow to get back to his feet. Looked to be Yearwood who had gone down. Orlando's ability to move the ball side to side in this second half, as this time they go more direct, it has helped create more space for them to breathe and move when in possession. It has also started to help open up some of those more direct channels over the top, like they've wanted to try to utilize throughout large stretches of this game. Here's Bolts, 1 goal today, connecting with Height, the other goal scorer. Height tried to play it into an empty space and ultimately picked back up by Orlando City B. It's been some tough sledding on the road dating back to last year for OCB. They're seeking only their 3rd road win over their last 15 road fixtures dating back to April of 2025. They have, though, earned at least 1 point in 4 straight road matches. Now on the move, it's Orlando again. Parker Amu-Mensah able to win a whistle as he's toppled. During the crunch time moments here for Orlando City. Final 15 minutes of this contest. Orlando, their lone goal scored here in this second 45 minutes. An own goal committed by Chicago's netminder, Owen Pratt. Still trying to get that offense going in this contest despite the chance creation. 6 shots on target for the visitors. Orlando, they lay it off courtesy of Amu-Mensah over to Leao. They're doubling up Leao, though, over in that near corner. And Leao able to come out of a crowd with it initially. Ultimately, before Chicago wins it back. Nagel muscled off the ball. Counter building. Here's Orlando. They'll steer it out wide. Sukata was able to take the touch, top of the 18. But Sukata dragged down, and this will be a whistle. A big moment here for Orlando City B, an opportunity to pull back level. We get whistles here. Orlando will bring on 2 more changes. Nicholas Lacheras, the Orlando City Academy center back, will come on. Matthew Belgadere will join him as well. Pedro Leao, he will sub off. Chicago did very well to hold Leao in check. Orlando electing to hold those changes, and now at the restart, this one lumped in, knotted away. It falls to the top of the 18. Amu-Mensah's effort goes deflecting off a defender and ultimately out of play for an Orlando corner. OCB, they've scored 7 goals in the second half this season. 5 of them have come in the final 15 minutes or later, hoping to reproduce some of that magic here on this upcoming corner. Sukata hangs this one high to the near post. A little bit too high as that goes angling out of play. Orlando now will make those changes, the aforementioned 2 substitutions, as Lacheras will come on, as will Belgadere. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. Chicago also set to make a change. They have not made that yet. Orlando do make their double change, still with one more change to make for manager Edward Wilding here before the conclusion of this contest. And now almost right on cue, Chicago will make that substitution. Mateo Clark will come on, bringing him in from the Vancouver Whitecaps organization. Mike Matkovich very high on him. I said the goal was to bring him in, give him a chance, and just see where he goes. Feels like that he has such a high ceiling, fits the profile of what they're looking for here in Chicago. Didn't get much of him at the beginning of the season. He was invited to national team camp. Mateo Clark was. Spent some time down in Guyana for international qualifying. But now Clark on for his third appearance of the season in a Chicago Fire shirt. It's Orlando in possession now. Inside 10 plus stoppage time to go until we reach full time. Montiel able to give it up. Here is the aforementioned Clark. Gonzalez wanting to play it in behind. That was out of the reach of Clark. Now Bolts will pick things up here for Chicago. Chicago still probing, looking to play Clark through. Knocked away by Orlando. And now it's Orlando City trying to break out for a counter here. Off the throw in, Orlando now asking some questions of the Chicago defense. Here's Caraballo, turns into two defenders. Now worked, top of the area. It's still Orlando City cycling this one around, trying to play it centrally. Damian Neek able to step in front of that effort from Orlando City, but knocking it out of play, and it's a late corner here for OCB. In swinging ball, it'll go angling to this near post and angles itself out of play. Other than the own goal that Orlando was able to take advantage of, there haven't been much doing on their set pieces today. Chicago have been relatively well organized on their set piece defense. Chicago, a team last year so dynamic on finishing on set pieces. Under Mike Matkovich, they put a lot of emphasis on both sides of that set piece conversation. Fire 2, they have been content in this second half to not have the lion's share of the ball. They've absorbed a lot of pressure from this Orlando City side. Lacheyras off the give up inside, now connecting with Yearwood. They'll swing it over. Okonski. Okonski, a player that Edward Wilding highlighted earlier this week, is one of those young impact performers last time out against Carolina Core. lot of trust in 72 in purple and gold as Okonski will funnel it back forward to Parker Amu-Mensah. Chicamso to Yearwood. OCB able to tightrope that touchline moments ago. Able to keep it in. Here's Yearwood, who will reset. Looking at 5 plus stoppage time to go. Still time for Orlando, who's on the prowl now, seeking that equalizer to find it. In behind, they'll cut it back in front. Chicago ready for it. And now Chicago looking to spring free, courtesy of Darius Height. Height trying to go through 2 defenders. This will draw a whistle. And Jalen Yearwood a bit worse for wear off that collision. Meanwhile, there is a yellow handed out, shown in the direction of Dylan Judelson. This match coming right down to the wire. Elsewhere around the Eastern Conference, in a battle of 2 and 3 in the Eastern Conference table right now. Red Bull New York 2, the defending champions, they've surged in front just before the halftime break against Columbus Crew 2-0. Whipped up ahead now by Orlando. Caraballo, he'll trot that one down. Now inside, Caraballo goes. Here's Judelson, the switch out wide. Joining the attack late is Yearwood. Belvedere couldn't hang on to it though, and ultimately it will dissipate due to a whistle from Alex Beeler. Chicago, it's a difficult stretch coming up for the home side. They do go on the road for 2 of their next 4. Take on NYC FC 2. The Pigeons of New York City Football Club, they themselves have struggled to find their footing to open 2026. Just 1 win so far. That coming in a come-from-behind effort against CT United now 2 matches ago. It's not long after that that they get the #1 team in the Eastern Conference in Crown Legacy, who have exploded onto the scene in 2026. "25 goals scored, just 8 conceded for this Crown Legacy side. They do get the benefit, Chicago does, of having Crown Legacy at home here at SeatGeek Stadium. I say the benefit because Crown Legacy, they've been spotless at home so far to open the next pro season, 5-0-0. They are coming off that draw last night against Carolina Core. Second time in their last handful of fixtures that Crown Legacy have not been able to capture the full 3 points. Played to a 3-3 draw 3 matches ago against Toronto FC. There's a collision along this near touchline. We get a whistle from Alex Beeler, and now there's an injured Chicago player. That is Darius Height, who is slow to get back to his feet. Meanwhile, Orlando looks ready to make their final change of the afternoon. Orlando will make that aforementioned change. Brady Kendall will come on. Okonski will trot off, and Kendall will get some run here late, fresh off his professional debut against Carolina Core last match week out. As for Chicago Fire, this has been a valiant effort to hold firm here in this second half a second half that has largely been dominated by Orlando City B in terms of the chances created and in terms of the possession. Now we get another whistle here from Alex Beeler. 54% possession for Orlando in the second half. 5 shots, just 2 of them on target though, but they've held Chicago without a shot on target. And this is a Chicago team that they were able to jump out to that 2-0 lead in the first half, which was important for Chicago. Shorthanded today. Players like David Poreba, Dylan Borso, who played in 3 and 4 MLS Next Pro matches respectively this season. They were on the bench last night, unused subs in that 5-0 shellacking of Sporting Kansas City by Chicago Fire first team. Looking at 4 minutes of stoppage time here at the end of this 90. Still time for Orlando to pull back level. Options developing here for OCB. Caraballo had slipped, able to pick it back up though. Amu Mensah, the give up, Caraballo, they cycle this one around, heading to the end line, able to keep it in. Now Chicomso will funnel it back forward. It's Belgadere on the turn. Had some support to his left in Yearwood. Belgadere going down, pleading for a whistle. Not going to get it. And now Damian Neek will carry it along, looking to play Clark into space. How about the effort there from Amu Mensah? Tracking all the way back, was high up the pitch, getting involved in the attack. Racing all the way back down to help knock that one away defensively. And when it all comes to rest, it will be a Chicago Fire throw in. Chicago Fire first team. It is a quick turnaround for Chicago. They had the match last night, then they'll be back in action in the midweek in U.S. Open Cup play. Coming off the round of 32 win against Detroit City. The aforementioned David Poreba had a brace just about 3 minutes apart to close out the opening half against Le Rouge out of USL Championship. They draw St. Louis City in the round of 16 this coming week in U.S. Open Cup play. St. Louis, their hopes were dashed at the tail end of their contest last night at home against San Jose Earthquakes out of the Western Conference, who San Jose under Bruce Arena really experiencing that second year Bruce Arena bump that is so patented by the winningest coach in MLS history. Meanwhile, here is Orlando City desperately trying to find that late equalizer. The shot was deflected away, and now jumping on it is Chicago. Here's Pineda pushing it forward. Clark now will run it down. Has some support on the overlap to his left. We're to slide that one back inside. Bolts was out of his reach, went to ground. Couldn't disrupt the buildup though. And Belgadere will carry it along. Just about a minute to go. Haruna over to Judelson. Caraballo. Orlando City, they've scored in stoppage time a handful of times this year. Did so against Inter Miami. They ended up splitting the points with their in-state rivals. This one out of the back by Orlando though. Almost given away. Roughly 30 seconds remain until the full-time whistle. It was against Carolina Core, their first meeting of the season, that Orlando scored at the death. A Caleb Trombino header, able to steal all 3 points on the road against the Foxes. Amu Mensah. Official checks the watch. Now played in behind. Last opportunity. It's squared in front. Defender almost got his lines wrong. And it'll go out of play. A corner given to Orlando City. One last push here for OCB. The in-swinger, back post, headed down! It's in! The Cardiac Kids have done it again at the death, and Orlando level. This, a beautiful service, floated over to that back stick. The second half substitute coming through, Nicholas Lacheras, helping rescue at least a point for Orlando. Try as they might, Chicago just could not hold on. Orlando had been pushing for that equalizer all second half, and they finally have it. Edward Wilding, he had said this week that one of the things that he took away from their draw against Carolina Core was they lacked a little bit of maturity in the moments of conceding a goal, keeping their heads about them. They went down 2 goals, but showed great maturity to battle all the way back from a 2-0 deficit, and there is the whistle from Alex Beeler. We have reached the end of regulation, and no winner to be found through 90 minutes. That means a penalty shootout on the other side when we return to SeatGeek Stadium. 2-2 at the end of regulation.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Back in Chicago, 2-2, all square at the end of 90 minutes, and that means we head to a penalty shootout to find out who will capture that coveted extra point. A lot of action during those 90 minutes, 4 goals combined, and set pieces were the biggest theme of regulation as we look at our regulation summary. First, it was Dean Bolts drawing the penalty in the 33rd minute. He would score from the spot to make it 1-0. Chicago in the first half, they would double their advantage just about 8 minutes later, coming off a corner, and this is where set pieces really started to take things over of this contest. Darius Height able to score off a corner. That made it 2-0. Then, in the 51st minute, Orlando, they'd take advantage off an own goal off a corner. OCB, they've had so much magic late in matches this season. They've scored twice prior in stoppage time. You knew it was coming, and there it was. At the death, Orlando City B, thanks to Nicholas Lacheras, the Orlando native, the hometown man coming through when they needed it most. That is how we got to this point. And to a penalty shootout we go. Chicago playing to their 4th draw of the season. Orlando City B playing to their 3rd draw of 2026. Those 3 prior draws for Chicago Fire 2, they have been able to capture the extra point in all 3 of them. A perfect 3 for 3 on penalty shootouts. Orlando City B, they are a perfect 2 for 2 on penalty shootouts this season, including last time out, 2nd consecutive draw for Orlando City B when they won 6-5 against Carolina Core. It will be Orlando City set to start the shootout off. Caraballo opens the scoring. A well-taken penalty to start things off for Orlando City, soundly beating Owen Pratt. Caraballo, the little stutter there before taking it. Driving that one past Owen Pratt. Now it's Chicago's turn from the penalty spot. Chicago do convert from the penalty spot to even things up here in this penalty shootout. Judelson now looking to push Orlando City back in front. Judelson rolls it in. Owen Pratt simply frozen on that one. Not much he could do about it. Casual little rolling across the line for Judelson. Now it's Chicago's turn. A chance to level once more. Driving this one toward goal, deflected out. Himes guessed the right angle there. It's Mateo Clark trying to go into that upper far corner. Now it'll be Dominik Bashevsky. Bashevsky, the Orlando City Academy winger. Stopped by Pratt. Chicago missing off the post. Then Owen Pratt turning around and stymieing Orlando City and Dominik Bashevsky. A chance now for Damian Neek to level. Neek buries it near side, and Chicago are back even at 2 apiece. Neek just driving that one in. Himes guessing right, just couldn't get all of that 6'5" frame toward that ball. A lot of pace on it from Neek. Last time at the spot, Orlando City had their effort turned aside by Owen Pratt. Driven over to the near side and scored. Brady Kendall able to convert to put Orlando back up in front, at least for the moment. Kendall, one of those young players that saw valuable minutes last week against Carolina Core, and Edward Wilding, he had mentioned youth development so near and dear to his heart. Talked about it earlier this week. Former Orlando City Academy coach. He's been so pleased with the way the youngsters have produced. This is Montiel, stopped by Himes. Montiel trotting up. And Himes able to just turn that one aside. A big spot here for Parker Amumensa. A chance to complete the comeback for Orlando City. If Amumensa can convert, it's all over. Amumensa stutters. Amumensa drives it in. Parker Amumensa able to help Orlando City steal 2 points away from Chicago. A gritty, hard-fought comeback complete from the young Lions of Orlando City B. Down 2-0 in the first half, and turning that into a 2-2 scoreline at the end of regulation and a penalty shootout win. A valiant effort from Orlando City B, and they get it courtesy of today's man of the match, presented by Adidas, Nicholas Lacheyras, coming in the second half, and Lacheyras helping rescue points at the death for Orlando City B, catching it with the head at the back stick, nodding it in, that leveling the contest just before the whistle, and sending Orlando City B to a penalty shootout. They would ultimately win. It's all final in Chicago. 2-2 after regulation. Orlando City B wins the penalty shootout. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Jake Griffith. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good afternoon from Illinois.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.